Well, guys, it's the holidays once again. It's Christmas time. I'm very excited. However, I was very concerned about this year. What was I going to do? I always do a 12-day series. Last year was Megsmas, and I did Botsmas, Primesmas. I've done Clonesmas a few times. I wanted to do something interesting, something different, and I thought, and I plotted, and I schemed, and I came up with the 12 Days of Baysmas. Yes, we will be talking about 12 Bayverse Transformers toys leading up to Christmas Day. But we need a mascot. Who's our mascot gonna be? And well, since Megatron had all of the fun last year, I figured he could at least be our mascot this year. I've decided to give the Yellow Park AMK Pro the honors of being our Megsmas representation. There's no Megatron I'm going to be talking about during these 12 days because he took up all of last year, so I figured some other characters could be in on the fun. Now, I do have some rules for this. I wanted to make sure it was a character that appeared in the movie, and I want to make sure it was a toy that I've not reviewed yet. I did make a couple exceptions when it came to repaints. It's a figure I've already talked about, but I talked about it in different colors. They're just really cool repaints I wanted to show off. This first one, however, is a figure that is very, very near and dear to me. It was my #1 Transformers toy of 2024, and I never did a video on it. So I figured for the season of celebrating what we love and what is near and dear to us, I would talk about my favorite Bayverse Transformers character and my favorite toy of him. So everybody, watch and endure as I review movie masterpiece Brawl. I love the movie masterpiece line, and Brawl is by far my favorite figure from it. He's also by far my favorite Transformers character from the live-action movies. He was called Devastator in the first movie for whatever stupid reason, but no, this is Brawl. This is Brawl. If you don't know why he's so near and dear to me, back in 2007, he was the only 2007 Transformers toy that I actually got. I got it around Thanksgiving. So it's a character that means a lot to me. It's a design that I really enjoy, and the movie masterpiece figure absolutely devastates my Brawl collection as one of the very, very best. I mean, look at all the details on this freaking tank mode. It's crazy. And anything and everything you would want to move, moves. So it definitely accomplishes the whole being a tank thing. It has little missiles on the back, it's got these turrets that move, the barrels, it's got awesome treads, and the treads continue all throughout. It's very impressive. Got some little tanks back there. You don't really see any real robot parts. You can see like a little bit if you're really peeking, if you're really being nosy. You can also see the top of his head right there, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this is an incredible tank mode for an incredible character. Now, it did come with some accessories, and not all of them are really relevant in the tank mode quite yet. Like, say, the robot mode weapons. Those just plug up there. Yeah, no thanks, not interested. However, we do have missiles that you can attach to, well, the missile launchers, and it kind of makes it look like they're shooting out. And they kind of don't want to fit on perfectly, but they'll fit. You just got to really push them on. And there you go, it's got some missile firing action. And we do also have these little things. I think you could at least put one on the tip, right? Yeah, at least put a little effect piece on the barrels. And I think you could probably also do it for these ones as well. So yeah, Brawl is going all out, blasting. He is definitely one you don't want to mess with. So, I love movie masterpieces, but I don't necessarily love transforming them. However, I'm gonna persevere for you guys. I just transformed this guy into the tank mode off camera before I started filming, so I think I remember most of it, but believe me, this is gonna be a mess. This is gonna be absolutely awful. There's a reason I don't review Masterpiece Transformers. I always have to be watching like an MGO JTI while I am going through one of these. I cannot figure these out on my own. There's just way too much going on. But I guess let's go ahead and get started. I don't even know where to start. Oh my gosh, what am I getting into? So, I ended with the chest, so I guess we could, like, kind of start with that. Unplug this. Oh no, it's stuck. We're off to a great start. It's stuck. It's stuck. I can't even get the chest out. Ooh, I actually hurt my finger. Well, there's this awesome head sculpt right there, so we got that going. Next up, oh geez, something about the barrels. We'll move these. Yeah, we'll move this stuff. We'll get this stuff folded right now. We'll do this. We'll do this part. Alright, so there's a lot of the backpack all done, I guess. The arms, there's a lot going on with the arms. And it is kind of cool how the arms do form from the big ol' like tank turret, because that's how they were with the original toy. And like I said, there's a lot going on. Just look at all these little panels. Alright, so all those panels are kind of folded, and then I know this whole panel comes undone, and it's gonna like do a whole swing-me-do. And then this thing's gonna go like this, and then this thing's gonna collapse like this, and then I think that's it. Swing it out when the turret's not in the way anymore. How annoying is that? So much stuff. I really do enjoy these more complex figures, but they, yeah, let's just say I'm not going to be talking about too many super complex things in 12 Days of Baysmas. I do like how the barrel folds in, though. That is very creative, and it's a great way to just totally collapse it and have it gone out of the equation. Okay, I think we're kind of in a position where we can start kind of resembling and seeing what's going on, what's happening here. So that's kind of cool. The chest is kind of taking shape. There's still so much going on, and it's stressing me out, but you know what? We're going to get there. I know we're going to get there. It's just a matter of surviving it. Surviving the experience and the ordeal. Because it's honestly not that bad. It's just kind of overwhelming. I feel like I get a little anxious transforming these really complex figures, especially on camera. Because I have a camera in front of me, I have bright lights shining down on me, and I'm trying to do something really intricate at the same time. Oh, I forgot to collapse these. I forgot to collapse these. Now I have to undo, like, all this stuff. This is nightmare. Alright, so I just undid and redid all my work on the torso. So, that's where we're at right now. I know these go along the side of the body, and I actually really love how that looks, because it kind of adds this like continuity of the treads, kind of like fully wrapping around the torso. I think Brawl is just such an awesome robot design, and it feels real too. Like, I almost feel like out of all of the original 07 Transformers, this is just one of the ones that's the most realistic looking. And I think it helps too that it's a camo military vehicle. I feel like anything military in Transformers is by default going to look more realistic, I suppose. But we're getting there. I think we almost have the torso done. And I think the legs are pretty easy from what I remember doing like an hour ago. There's a little stick we gotta pull out, and the little stick plugs into the back. It's very important you get that stick out, so then you can plug it into the back. And all of this mess of stuff is kind of held in place by this stick. Alright, so then we can kind of lock the backpack in. And I do have to say, it's a very nice, tight backpack. Like, it's all pretty well condensed. Then those kind of lock in, so they're going to stay in position for those missiles to be over the shoulders. So all we have left are the legs. It's kind of funny, though. He looks kind of like a pogo stick. Pogo stick Brawl. Alright, the legs. I know you separate them. I know that's one step. What next? What next? Doesn't this, like, just wrap all the way around or something? Yeah, that's like a whole wraparound deal. It's crazy, I just transformed this an hour ago, and I've already forgotten a lot of it. Every other figure that you will see starts in vehicle mode, and I transformed them all without any sort of instruction or anything. Oh. Uh-oh. I didn't unlatch this piece, and it just launched off from this side. It launched off into my room. I think I heard where it went. I'm gonna look for it later. Oh, jeez. Oh, okay, now that's triggered the anxiety. There we go. Now I'm anxious. Oh, jeez. Why did I do this? I should not have done this. And again, like, if I have the opportunity to just, like, sit by myself and transform one of these MPMs, like watching a JTI or whatever from MGO, it's not that bad. It's honestly not that bad, because I have time, I have the ability to kind of learn it, and I'm not stressing. But on camera, my skin's tingling. I'm getting anxious, Congratulations, guys. You're making me anxious. This is all your fault. Alright, to save myself unnecessary pain and torment, I went ahead and transformed one leg off camera. So I have more of an idea of what I'm doing. I can't believe that piece literally shot off. I know it didn't break, and that's one good thing. I'm happy when pieces are just attached with something like that, where it does have the possibility of breaking, because that means that it won't. You know, it'll just fly off into some random spot in your room, and I'm gonna have to be spending the next probably half an hour looking for it. But we're almost done. We have almost completed Brawl. With all these panels and everything, it does all tab together pretty well. And please forgive me if I missed the stupidest, tiniest little detail that is inconsequential to the overall thing. Here is Movie Masterpiece Brawl, back in his bot mode. So the funny thing is, when I showed this guy off in my top 10 of 2024, I was like, oh, I need to transform this thing. It's been a while. Yeah, it's literally been a whole year since I've transformed this thing. Because I don't like transforming these NPMs. They stress me out, clearly, obviously. And besides, why would you want to transform something that's this gorgeous? This thing is awesome. We can get all of the blast effects back on him. We can start adding his weapons, because he's got his super mega awesome blade, which actually appeared again in Earthspark, which is really cool. Loved seeing Mandroid wield that. Wish we would have seen Brawl a bit more. Brawl gets no love in modern media. I don't actually think he's really been in anything besides Earthspark since the 07 movie. He actually does have one extra blast effect as well. He's got this right here. It says something that like clips onto his chest. Is like, oh, you just shot me. And I think it goes like right here, because Brawl gets damaged a lot. He takes a lot of abuse in the 07 movie before he finally gets taken down, because he was a literal tank. So it is kind of cool that we have some blast effect battle damage. And all of those little blast effects can go on the barrel of this gun. And you have big ones and small ones, so we can kind of alternate and make the look very interesting. So here's our completed look for Movie Masterpiece Brawl, and this guy is awesome. Again, I'll probably never transform it again, at least not for a long, long time. But this is so amazing. He just makes my soul smile. Look at the detail on this guy. He looks so awesome. He's always had one of my personal favorite head sculpts for the Michael Bay movies, and I love that he has an opening mouth on this figure, because his head design is just so hardcore. He is by far my favorite Bayverse character, my favorite Bayverse design. He has a lot of awesome detailing otherwise. I love like I've always assumed they're like mine sweeps on the chest there. He's got a lot of weathering too. He's got like some silver speckling here and there. His camouflage does carry on into the robot mode, unlike the Studio Series one. You can see the shape of the legs is very accurate. It's got a very accurate shape to it. And ultimately, they accomplished the look of this Brawl with a very, very minimal kibble. I would say the only real kibble you're going to be seeing on this guy is behind the shoulders. There's a little bit of stuff. It's got some things hanging off on the legs. And the backpack isn't that bad, honestly. It's pretty compact. It makes sense for how this guy transformed. Overall, I am so happy that they finally did Brawl, and they saved the best for last, in my opinion. This is my favorite boy. I'm happy they made it, but it took way too long. So to wrap up on Brawl, his articulation, he has a ball joint at the head. He's got the jaws that move up and down. His little shoulder cannons are on hinges and swivels. You can also move these cannons again if you want. His shoulders are on nice ratchets. They move out and they move forward. You do have a bicep swivel. Bye-bye effect piece. His elbows kind of suck, just given the shape of his arm. He kind of has the gorilla arm thing going on, but you can work with it because it does have like an extra hinge here, and you can kind of make it bend forward. You just have to keep in mind the hand. It's definitely got the gorilla arm effect going on, and you can also have it down as well, because the hand, it does not really rotate. It just kind of exists in there. Oh, never mind. It does rotate. Wow. Learn something new every day. Well, while I'm looking at his hands, he does have finger articulation, which is very nice. He still kind of has the gorilla arm thing, just given like the overall shape of his arms. He still kind of has it going on, so I'm not really wrong. He does have a waist swivel. It is pretty limited by his back kibble, but hey, at least he has it. His hips kind of are way too stiff. They have a decent outward, but the forward hinge is super tight. The click is cacophonous on that, but it does move. You do have swivels and hinges at the knees, and then the ankles are actually pretty nicely articulated. They get a really nice pivot, and they can rotate. So overall, Brawl's articulation is pretty fantastic for being a big burly tank boy. And with that, there is the first and most stressful day of Baysmas said and done. We've got 11 more toys to talk about. All of them are proper figures too. We're talking Deluxes, Voyagers, so we got a lot of interesting things to show off leading up to Christmas. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go find that little panel that flew off. I'm sure I'll find it, just give me some time. Welcome everybody to day 2 of the 12 days of Baysmas. And when we left off, I was trying to look for the panel that flew off of MPM Brawl. And in my search so far, I found these things. I didn't even know he fell off the shelf. Didn't even know this guy fell, but he fell. I'm missing both of these for my Cybertronian Wheeljack. I found one of these. This Cyberverse weapon that I didn't know was missing, and a Clone Wars clone blaster that I didn't know was missing. So yeah, still looking for that panel. But anyways, for day 2, we have Cogman. Yes, I haven't reviewed Cogman yet. Cogman is a very, very interesting character, isn't he? He was from the last night, and he did not transform into this very nice, sleek silver sports car. He did not in the movie. He was a little headmaster guy, and he's actually in there. We do have a little headmaster guy included with this. Now, this is a Studio Series repaint, and thankfully, I didn't get the original Last Night version, because the Studio Series one actually freaking painted the thing. The Last Night one was pretty much like all gray, if I'm not mistaken, especially in the robot mode. The robot mode was like all gray and had like this weird black wash on it, but this one looks a lot nicer to me. Very, very nice, slick car. I think this is one of the better Last Night Deluxes. A lot of people really enjoyed this Cogman, myself included. I kind of was hot and cold with this guy for a while, but I think at the end of the day, I enjoy some Cogman. I think the character was underutilized, and I think that the toy, you know, isn't perfect, but it still has a lot of stuff going on. It does have, I'm pretty sure, isn't that Excalibur? Isn't that the sword from the movie? I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I've only seen The Last Night like twice. It's so bad. It's such a bad movie. And I broke him! Oh my gosh. Baysmas is a disaster already. But yeah. I've never been the biggest fan of The Last Night. In fact, I think it is by far the worst Michael Bay Transformers movie. There's our little Headmaster Cogman. We'll have to show that off in a minute. But overall, I think this toy is pretty successful in what it's trying to accomplish. I think they did a pretty good job making like a big robot mode version of a character that's actually just a standard like little robot humanoid person. I think this is a pretty nice successful toy in that way. But overall, it is pretty simple, not too hard to transform. But overall, this guy is pretty simple, not too hard to transform. I would say the hardest part's like this hood that you have to swing around and kind of fold down. It took me a while to learn how you have to like pull it out and then like push it back in. Kind of interesting mechanism we don't really see on too many Transformers characters. But yeah, just kind of get the arms all out. And then here is our headless Cogman. Where's his freaking head, bro? Here's his little head. So yeah, you gotta be kidding me. It landed on my sock. We're good. We're good. It landed on my sock. But yeah, Cogman was, in the movie, a headmaster. He was called a headmaster. And it was kind of in the sense of like, you know, oh, I'm a headmaster of this mansion. But he was actually going to do the headmaster thing in the movie. He was going to take over Nitro Zeus's body. That's why the Nitro Zeus toy has the Titans Return headmaster gimmick. And this toy also had the headmaster gimmick. Unfortunately, we never really got to see that happen, but hey, at least in this way we do have a scale-accurate little Cogman figure. And it does transform into a more full-size head for our deluxe class figure. Pop it on, and here we go. Here's our Studio Series Deluxe Class Cogman. And yeah, this guy's a lot of fun. He is kind of floopy. He's a little floopy because he's very ball joint heavy. One thing you may notice with modern Transformers, they don't use a lot of ball joints because ball joints kind of suck. They don't hold up. They get floppy. However, Studio Series is not exempt from using ball joints, so even for figures like this that are repaints from older lines, they'll still do it. But yeah, this guy looks great. I love the Studio Series repaint. It's got a lot of awesome silver. It's got some nice hints of gold. You can see like some clockwork and everything in his belly. It's an awesome looking design. Cogman was definitely one of the nicer things from the last night. Not the nicest, that's Nitro Zeus and Megatron. But he's up there. He's higher tier. He was a little annoying though, but we all love him. We all love him, don't we? His articulation, he's got a little wiggle waggle at the head. His shoulders are on hinges and ball joints, so you can get a pretty decent range out of that. You can see though, it's getting kind of loosey. Do have a bicep swivel and a elbow bend. Got some decent like wrist bend too. You do have to move this panel out of the way, but it does allow you to have the sword pointed, which is actually kind of fun. I don't think the waist does anything. No, it doesn't. Hips are on standard ball joints. Got a thigh swivel. Knees can bend pretty good. And then the ankles are just kind of on hinges for transformation. So articulation isn't the greatest. He doesn't feel the greatest, but his transformation's really fun. It's a fun character. It's a fun idea. And overall, I do have to say Cogman is one of the nicer Last Night figures and one of the nicer elements of the movie. So there is day 2 of Baysmas. Got ourselves deluxe class Cogman. Next up, we have another Studio Series figure, but it's one I've already talked about, just in very interesting colors. Colors that I wouldn't expect to like, but really do. Welcome, guys, to day 3 of the 12 Days of Baysmas. Still haven't found that Brawl panel, but for day 3, like I said, we have another Studio Series Deluxe. And this time, it's one that, when it was in stores, I didn't really want it. But when it kind of left, I really missed it. And I'm happy I was able to get my grubby little mitts on Nest Ratchet. Yeah, I didn't expect to like Ratchet in gray, but here we go. Yeah, this looks absolutely badass. I'm loving the look of it. Doesn't really make sense in universe. I mean, I guess it could. Maybe he like goes on a mission with Nest or something. Bone Crusher especially makes no sense. But I guess this Ratchet kind of makes sense. This panel does not want to go in. Yeah, that's not happening. But I think this Ratchet is an awesome mold. It's a great repurpose of the Dark of the Moon Deluxe. And overall, I think they just did a great job with it. Megatron, you need to stop focusing. We don't need to see you anymore. My camera literally hates this figure. I don't know if it's the gray, but it does not want to focus in on it. Let's just go ahead and get it transformed. Let's get this guy transformed. It's a great little transformation. Again, it's essentially Dark of the Moon Deluxe Ratchet. That's essentially what it is. And the Studio Series version was able to kind of streamline it and was able to just improve the mold overall. I really do enjoy this mold, and I'm happy I was able to get this repaint. It is kind of different than the one I already have because it does have a different weapon. Because I have the Movie 1 version, and he has like a chainsaw thing. And this time around, he's got his little gun, which is really cool. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. I love when Ratchet has like the waist swing. I feel like every Ratchet mold needs to have that cool rotation. It's such an important part of the character's transformation. It's kind of like Optimus Prime, where the windows need to be on the chest. Looking at you, Age of Extinction. Yeah, this transformation's pretty much already done. Last things we have to do are detach the back from the legs. Then the legs straighten out pretty much the same as that original Dark of the Moon Deluxe. And then the backpack, you can see it's pretty egregious at the moment, but thankfully I think this one folds up a little bit more successfully than that original Dark of the Moon Deluxe, because instead of kind of folding over, it kind of folds under, and you still do have like this little thing that's kind of dangling from his butt, but it's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, we're still looking at a super cool figure of Ratchet. And now that I think that his color scheme is not just all gray, my camera wants to focus in on him a bit more, because now he's a bit more visually interesting. We've thrown in some blacks and we've thrown in some silvers, and I think it's looking good. I think it's looking pretty good. Definitely digging it. It's a really awesome, slick redeco of an amazing character design. I love movie Ratchet. I enjoy his mutton chops. I enjoy just so much about him. And this is definitely one of my favorite figures of him. Not my absolute favorite, because I do have the MPM. but this one is very, very cool as well. For this ratchet's articulation, he's got a swivel at the head. He's got ball joints at the shoulders and kind of hinges at the shoulders as well. His biceps are on swivels, and he kind of has like an extra shoulder hinge, which is interesting. He does have a nice hinge at the elbow, and both those hinges do give you really nice range. Doesn't really have anything at the waist due to transformation. He's got ball joints at the hips. He has swivels at the thighs, which are kind of hindered, just given everything that's going on around the thighs. His knees are on very nice deep bends for transformation. His ankles are also on very nice ball joints for transformation. So overall, he's got some nice articulation. I do like his gun a lot too. I'm very happy that I have it in this scale. So if I do want to give it to my more normal ratchet, I could just give him the saw if I want. So there we go, the 12 Days of Baysmas, Day 3. This is an awesome little ratchet, and I'm happy I was able to show it to you guys. Alrighty, Day 4, we are delving into the realm of the in-between point of Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon, with a particular toy of a particular character that I'm shocked I have not reviewed yet. And unfortunately, it's going to be a similar story to Brawl. Why am I doing this to myself? Welcome everybody to Day 4 of the 12 Days of Baysmas. And I found it! I found the Brawl panel! My echolocation senses are incredible. I literally heard the area it went in, and I was able to find it. It took a little bit of time, but I was able to find it. Now I'll just have to add it to his leg again. So, oh, that squeak was awful. Alright, the panel is back on. Hopefully, that will never happen ever again. I was worried this guy was going to be incomplete forever. But unfortunately, we have another very frustrating Transformer on our hands for Day 4. We have the Revenge of the Fallen Hunt for the Decepticons mold, Battle Blades Optimus Prime. But this is not the original version. This is the Dark of the Moon repaint, where he's got battle hooks, he does not have a battle mask, and he's got the literal moon in his windshield. And he's got stars and he's got speckles that look more like snow than stars. So every time I've seen this guy, especially like the little bit of white, like the little bit of white frosting, it looks more like snow. This is like snow Arctic disguise Optimus or whatever. It's kind of interesting, but this is my only version of this mold, and this mold is super frustrating to get in this truck mode. It is a miniaturized version of the Revenge of the Fallen leader class. You can especially tell when flipping him upside down. You can see the hips are in like the same spot. This guy is an already frustrating figure for most, not really for me. ROTF Prime is one I've conquered. However, I have not been able to conquer the mini version. This transformation was so frustrating. But I didn't need help. I didn't need instructions. I figured it out on my own. And honestly, this truck mode looks great. This is awesome. I know a lot of people, when it comes to a Voyager-size Optimus, are like, oh, it should just be like the ROTF leader. And I think this guy's pretty good evidence as to why it probably shouldn't be, because when it's like the ROTF leader, it is super tiny and super finicky and very frustrating and annoying, at least for me anyway. Again, this truck mode is really nice. One of my biggest issues, though, is like this little gap that just will not close right in the front. Like, that gap is just not going to close, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm not crying over that tiny little gap. One fun thing, though, it does have the same feature where you can make him look, huh? Or you can make him look, or you can make him look, oh. Have you ever seen semi-trucks where it actually does kind of look like this? Oh, it looks so sad. But yeah, that's essentially the truck mode. Not really too much going on here. Let's go ahead and, I'm going to say it. Get it transformed. Alright, this shouldn't be as bad as Brawl. This shouldn't be as bad, because it's ROTF Prime. That's essentially what this is. It's ROTF Prime. I know ROTF Prime, except this one's really tiny, and this one is very annoying because it's super tiny. But we'll get there. We'll figure it out. The legs are very, very simple. They're actually a lot simpler than the ROTF leader, if you ask me. They just kind of do that, and then you flip the little toes down, and then there you go, there's the legs. The legs are done, basically. Congrats. We have the legs done. These little things back here, it's so interesting when you see figures where there's like a little piece you have to shift up before you move it. You don't see that super often, but it does happen sometimes. Alright, next up, This is a massive series of panels that all kind of accordion and tab together. And there is that all done. Alright, next up, I know we want to untab the sides very much. Oh, no! Don't pull that hard. But we want to untab these sides similarly to the ROTF leader. They don't do as much, but they are still going to kind of compact. You can see like they're on this series of sliders and everything. They're going to compact very similarly, but it's not going to have as clean of an effect as the ROTF leader. And we'll just take this panel. I believe this rotates again, right? Yeah, give that a little rotation. Then those tab into those slots. And there's the backpack all done. You can see that is not nearly as clean as the ROTF leader, but hey, you know what? It's tinier. I can forgive it. Next up, we want to get the arms. And the arms are going to hinge out kind of similarly, but not as intricate and not as complex. And then, all this, it's so frustrating. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip out the hooks so they're just out of the way, because otherwise it's going to be super annoying. The little hands flip out, and then you want to make sure these panels are off to the side. You can see this guy has a lot of great sculpting and everything. He's just kind of underpainted, if you ask me. But then again, pretty much every retail level Optimus Prime toy from the Bayverse is underpainted. But you can see it's pretty much coming together. I do appreciate how the hands flip. I definitely appreciate that. And we're actually almost done. This actually wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It's a lot more annoying to get into the truck mode, though. I'll say that. The chest, you do want to make sure you get the little angry eyes. And then separate the chest. And you can see one different thing is that the actual front of the truck, this configuration, it'll kind of flip to the bottom of it for the robot mode, while the ROTF leader is very straight on with how it transforms. However, we do want to get this head out, and this is kind of difficult to fish this out. This has always been difficult, especially if you don't want to pop out the little matrix of leadership. Because yes, this guy's a little matrix. This is actually one of the first times they ever gave us the Bayverse matrix on a toy. This ain't coming out, is it? This ain't coming out. Nope, this ain't coming out. It's stuck. It's stuck-a-rooney. It's stuck, Phil. Thank you, Clone Trooper Blaster I found on day 2. You saved the day. Alright, go ahead and get the head out. And as we have the head out, we can see there's the matrix. It's got the matrix of leadership. You can kind of have it open like this. It's almost like the chest is open like this, and you can see he's got the matrix. No! Is Ratchet the only figure that hasn't had something just fall off of it yet? I think so. I think he might be the only one. But the matrix is removable if you do want to remove it, but I'm not going to stress about that because that's going to stress me out. It's going to get lost forever. Alright, last thing we want to do is just kind of get the shoulders all properly configured, just like this. Oh, well, that totally wasn't the finickiest, worst experience of my entire life. Anyways, get the chest all configured, and then just move the head down. Well, everybody, here we go. Here's our Battle Hooks, Battle Blades Optimus Prime. And honestly, in the bot mode, this is looking pretty good. This is looking pretty sharp. It's definitely dated, I can say. It definitely has a lot of dated elements to it and how it just operates and functions, but it's still pretty good. And it's crazy to think that they put so much engineering in a Voyager class back in the day. I can guarantee you Hasbro would be charging $55 for this figure. They would probably be throwing in a few more things, but no, they would do leader class on this with all the engineering that is going on. The backpack is super mega ugly, but thankfully, I don't know about you, I don't think anyone displays their toys from the back. So we can kind of just move on from that and ignore that and don't think about it. I did accidentally pop one of these off, which is actually perfect, because I can show you that these are his guns. His gas tanks are his guns, which is really cool. That's really fun. Of course, you don't have to have the battle hooks deployed. You can fold them back in, but they're gonna get in the way. So just have them deployed for the sake of your sanity. He's just gonna have them. That's okay. And your Grindor figure's not going to be happy about it, but you're going to be happy about it. I really do enjoy that face plateless head sculpt. I think it's one of the first times we ever got one like this, where we don't really see his battle mask. I think it looks very nice, very sharp, and I actually really enjoy Optimus's face in the live-action movies. I've always enjoyed the look of it. It's just a cool-looking face. Overall, the rest of the body looks cool too. You can still see the moon and the stars and everything in his windshield on his chest, but that's okay. That's just kind of silly. Again, a lot of unpainted detail on the arms. The arms have like no paint on them at all, except obviously the big old truck panels. The legs also continue the trend of not having a lot of paint. Like the feet have no paint, the shins have no paint. They put a lot of the paint into the flames and everything, but they did add some crucial details. A little bit of gold in the belly, some nice silver and blue on the hips. I think overall it's getting accomplished what needs to be accomplished, but still could use a little bit more flames here and there, like on the doors and everything. For his articulation, his head is just on a swivel. His shoulders are on universal joints, so they move pretty well. He's got a elbow swivel and an elbow bend. His wrists don't swivel, but they do hinge ever so slightly for transformation. Nothing at the waist with all of those crazy hinges and everything that happens. His hips are on universals, and they're kind of squeaky. Very squeaky joints, and they are on ratchets outward. You can move these wheels out of the way for the thigh rotation. You have a nice knee bend, and the ankles move forward and back, and you actually have some ankle tilt, which is crazy on a figure of this age. One very annoying element of the transformation is this hinge, because it allows the legs to bow in like this. So, oh no, I drank too much eggnog. Now I've gotta pee. It's ridiculous looking. But hey, this is still a really nice Optimus. And if you're looking for a Voyager scaled Optimus for your Bay collection, this is definitely a worthy contender. Either this version or the original one that is not going to have the moon and the stars and everything on it. Alrighty guys, there we go. The 12 Days of Baysmas, Day 4. And a third of the way through, and we've got Optimus Prime out of the way. Hey, I had to show off Prime earlier. I couldn't wait. But I'm very excited for the next day because we're staying in the realm of Revenge of the Fallen, and we're talking about another one of my favorite characters, another one of my favorite toys of him, in a very particularly retro color scheme. Welcome back to Day 5 of the 12 Days of Baysmas. And this time around, I had to talk about him. I've talked about this toy before, but not this redeco. This is the most gorgeous version of Revenge of the Fallen Soundwave ever released. This was the Meeting at the Nemesis multi-pack version, and yeah, it's G1 Soundwave colors. It's a straight up G1 Soundwave. What else do I have to say? It's G1 Soundwave. It has this really cool, like, kind of yellowy gold translucent plastic. It's blue, it's silver, red highlights, looks incredible. I personally love the satellite mode for ROTF Soundwave, and I love the ability to kind of turn it into like a jet or something if you want to. You can mess with all these joints and hinges. You can turn these things into thrusters if you want. There's so much option with all these joints because nothing really tabs in, so you can just move everything freely as you want. I do have the Ravage missile that plugs into the top. It's a little missile that looks like a weird squat Ravage. It looks ugly, it gets in the way, so it's in storage. I'm sorry, I didn't dig it out, I couldn't find it. But this is an awesome Soundwave. You can kind of see what's going to happen when you turn him around. I mean, there's not much to this guy. Let's just go ahead and get into it. This is going to be a shorter episode, but honestly, after what I put myself through the first 4 days, I went through it, dude, especially with Brawl. Bro! I guess Optimus was like, you should have gone through it with me. I'm gonna fall now. You've made me mad. I'm guessing that's what was going through his little toy head. I love how the legs form. I've always enjoyed how the legs form like from the center mass of the satellite. It's just so effective and so cool. And it's really slick too. It's just a really slick figure overall in general. And all of the backpack pieces just collapse and compact really nice. And before you know it, all these things I've moved have essentially given us the robot mode. Like, this is pretty much it. Last thing we really have to do is flip down this thing covering his face. And here we go. Here is our Revenge of the Fallen Meeting at the Nemesis Soundwave. A lot of people think that the Infiltration Soundwave is the G1 repaint, but no, that's like blue with flames. This is the G1 repaint. And you can really tell because it's got this awesome gold bordering at the chest. That looks incredible. I love the silver paint around the tummy. It almost even looks like they kind of did the buttons down there. I love the circles on the chest. The head sculpt looks fantastic. You can see the lips and everything. This is Bayverse Soundwave after all, so he does have like a mouth. But the whole design and sculpt and everything of it. Dude, Soundwave should always be blue. I don't know why they made him silver in the movies. It's so stupid. The shoulders look awesome. Got a little bit of like silver paint right there. I love the arms because they've got the red right by the hands and the silver forearms. Very G1-y. And the legs as well. Get a little bit of touch of color on the knees and right by the ankles. This is an awesome redeco. This is by far my favorite movie Soundwave from like Revenge of the Fallen and everything. I still do really like the Human Alliance from Dark of the Moon, but every time I look at this, I'm like, yeah, that's movie Soundwave. This is in my head who and what this character is. Now for articulation on this guy, he does have a hinge at the neck as well as a ball joint, so you get a lot of expressiveness. You can have him go if you need him to do that. Does get some nice rotation. The shoulders are on hinges and ball joints, so you get a lot of range out of those. The shoulders also kind of have a swivel up there, kind of at the bicep, and then you have double hinges kind of at the bicep and at the elbows again. He does have gorilla arms, and he does just have closed fist hands, which is very interesting. One of the very few Transformers figures that's absolutely entirely incapable of any accessory holding. Like, no accessory compatibility with this guy at all. Nothing at the waist. The hips are just on basic ball joints, and kind of hinges too with the transformation. You have a knee swivel, full knee bend because of the transformation, and the ankles, there's tons of little toe articulation with how it transforms, but awesomely, they did engineer in an ankle tilt. They didn't have to do that, but they did. Definitely appreciate that little ankle tilt. Yeah, this is one of my favorite toys to come out of Revenge of the Fallen for sure. So there we go. There is day 5 out of the way. Good old ROTF Soundwave. I've talked about a lot of vehicles, however. I've talked about a lot of robots, a lot of things that aren't very beastly. And I haven't touched on one of my guilty pleasure movies yet. So I think for day 6, we're going to be talking about a big old boy. Well, not the toy, the character. Welcome to day 6 of the 12 days of Baysmas. We're halfway through, and I figured at the halfway mark, we would talk about somebody he's got the silver and gold. I love those old movies. Today we're talking about me, Grimlock. Me, Grimlock, silver and gold now. Yeah, unfortunately he didn't even talk in the movie, so that's inaccurate. Actually, that's inaccurate, JC224. He didn't talk in the movie. Yes, it's Age of Extinction Voyager class Grimlock. Somehow I've never talked about this old school Voyager. At least as far as I saw when I was looking. Maybe I did and I just forgot. I don't know. But anyways, I love this guy. I've always enjoyed this ever since I got it all the way back in 2014. I've had this guy for 11 years. And for 11 years, he has always been a very awesome figure in my collection. I've got the Studio Series Leader. I'm going to get the Studio Series Titan class, but this guy will always have a spot in my collection. Accessory-wise, he does have his big old like hammer thing, and it just adds an extension to his tail that's actually really stupid and ugly. You can remove the handle if you want, and it's just kind of like a spiked tail, but that's not the right dinosaur, actually. So you can just take that off, and the tail looks a little bit better, in my opinion, without it. So yeah, the dino is very nice. I personally love the kind of goldish bronze color that they added to him, especially the parts where it's painted. The paint is really nice and metallic. The plastic, though, is still really good. It's got some nice swirly twirly to it. Overall, it's a very nice color scheme for Grimlock. I'm happy that, at least the toys anyway, had a more faithful color scheme for the character. Definitely would have liked to see a little bit more red going on here, but overall, it's a nice look for Grimlock. I was kind of disappointed in the movie when all of them were just essentially gray, but hey, at least the toys were very fun and colorful. At least Hasbro realized that to make a successful toy line, all of your, poster boys, they can't be all gray. They can't be all silver. Grimlock does have a little bit of articulation in the T-Rex mode. Obviously, you can move the jaw up and down, but you can actually open the top jaw as well if you want it to look even more open. The little tiny arms are on ball joints. Oh, so cute. And then the legs are the robot mode arms. So you have the hinges, you have a swivel, and you have a bend. The ankles don't really do anything except untabbing, but that might be beneficial for certain poses. I don't know. I don't know anything. Getting Grimlock transformed is honestly pretty easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Probably one of the most difficult parts is splitting the dino head. Then at a very specific point, you want to take this panel and feed it through. That's kind of tricky. But overall, it's a pretty fast transformation. For Age of Extinction, they wanted to make sure that these toys were a bit simpler, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, you saw that Optimus Prime I just talked about. That was a retail release Voyager. I can guarantee you, kids popped pieces off of that left and right. They were breaking that thing left and right. They, yeah, definitely not ideal for younger fans. And, I mean, even for older fans, you saw how much I struggled with Brawl. I'm definitely not a complex transformation kind of guy. But hey, we do have ourselves our Grimlock pretty much all done. Here he is, looking really cool. He's got gorilla arms again. What is it with so many of these figures having gorilla arms for Baysmas? I don't get it. But thankfully you can kind of undo it for this guy. You just untab that and then rotate the wrist. And you do have like the kibble and everything on the side of the arm. But it does allow anyway for that to not be a thing anymore. The bot mode is fantastic on this. I love the look. I love the color. I love the head sculpt. The head sculpt looks really cool, and it's fairly accurate to what we see in the movie. I love how the sides of the dino head form these massive shoulder pads, and we can take his weapon, and this is definitely where you want to just, you know, untab that. You can take his weapon and get that attached properly. Of course, it's always like the last rotation where it'll actually go in. Oh, is it going to go in at all, actually? There we go. Oh my gosh. But yeah, he's got his big old mace weapon. He is ready to go. And he looks great with all the other Dinobots too. I love the color. He is a very slick looking dino robot man. Very, very slick looking. It's a cool design. Even back in the day when I first saw it, I'm like, yeah, this is a cool live action Grimlock. I understand the detractors of it. I understand why people aren't the biggest fan. I think the depiction in the movie is worse than the design. Like, he's just kind of a brute. He doesn't say anything. I would have at least liked to meet Grimlock. Like, at least give me that. Warrior, what is your name? Me, Grimlock! Like, that would have been awesome. But that's Michael Bay for you. Articulation for this Grimlock, his head is on a swivel and also a hinge, which is kind of cool. So he can look down, which is kind of very intimidating. Like, yikes, I'm scared. The shoulders are the same as the dino legs. I'm not going to go over the arms again. It's exactly the same. Nothing at the waist. The hips are on universal joints, so they move forward all the way. This hip skirt will also move out of the way. They move out pretty well. The thighs are on rotations. The knees are on bends. The ankles can move up and down. And they actually, again, have a nice intentional ankle tilt built into just the articulation, not a part of the transformation at all. So that is always very appreciated for a figure like this. Overall, I love this Grimlock. Like I said, it's always going to have a spot in my collection. And out of all of the repaints and everything they've done for this guy, and they've done like over half a dozen different color schemes for this mold, I still think this original color scheme is my favorite. So there we go, guys. Age of Extinction Voyager Grimlock for the 12 Days of Baysmas. I am very, very excited to continue on, but I don't think I'm ready to leave Age of Extinction yet. It's still so near and dear to my heart. I don't think I'm ready to leave yet. I'm not ready to leave. I gotta do another one. Welcome back, everybody, to Day 7 of the 12 Days of Baysmas. And like I said, I'm not ready to leave Age of Extinction yet. I'm not ready. So this time we're going to be talking about a figure of a character I'm surprised I haven't talked about yet. Voyager Drift. I don't know how I have not talked about this figure yet, because this is one of my favorite Drift figures. It is the Voyager Helicopter Drift. That is a repaint of the, what is it, Dark of the Moon Skyhammer? Isn't that what his name is? Yeah, I never got Skyhammer. I don't know why. I always wanted him. I never got him. But I'm so happy to have the mold as this Drift. This color scheme is exquisite, and this is an awesome mold, and this is an awesome figure of Drift. It's not super movie accurate in the bot mode, but who cares? It's a cool toy. This copter mode is awesome. Like, look at that cockpit. Look at all the angles on that. The intakes look super cool. I love the swords on the side. You can remove these if you want, but it is some nice storage for the robot mode swords. The legs form the tail of the helicopter very, very nicely. Overall, like, this guy's just so well formed. There we go. I didn't fully transform him. But yeah, it's so well formed. It's got some real working landing gear. It does have some gold plastic, but I have not noticed or observed any GPS issues on this guy. One of my favorite things is the two-tone blue. I am such a sucker for two-tone blue, and this guy pulls it off wonderfully. Like, even just a little bit of highlight right there. It's so well done. This is an awesome figure, and it's a great helicopter mode. I mean, look at that. That's spinning like a dream. That is an amazing, amazing spinny helicopter. But you know what? Let's go over the robot mode. Let's see what it's got going on in the bot mode. So we can remove the swords, obviously, and you can also connect the swords together if you want like a uni sword. If you want to do that, if you want to just give him like one big sword, that's kind of cool. I like that option. But going back to this, there's definitely some clearance issues I experience every time I'm trying to transform this guy. There's just stuff kind of getting in the way. It's just a little, it's mildly problematic. Mildly. It's not the biggest issue, but it's presented some problems to me in the past. Definitely has been mildly problematic. But overall, you can see the legs form really well. I love how when you push that back, the front little detail pulls forward. I love that so much. It's such a cool little touch for this guy. And overall, it's a pretty quick transformation. You just got to make sure everything is lined up the way it's supposed to be. Everything's hinged where it's supposed to be. And again, just showing you that push forward. Come on. To make sure the double hinge is lined up. There we go. Nice little push forward there. He's got little heels. Alright, this is where the clearance issues begin. This is where I always have issues. Because we have this like assembly right here. You want to make sure it's detached from the waist. Get the waist down. And then you want to make sure this is out of the way enough where you can get the arms detached and flipped out of the way. And this is where I always have issues because I feel like I never have enough room to get all this stuff out of the way from each other. But I managed. I just did it. Boom. Just did it. Mission accomplished. Alright, so then we just kind of split the cockpit, and we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. I want to make sure that this is facing this way. Cockpit is going to go like that. And there's our head sculpt for Drift. Very cool original head sculpt for this toy. Definitely loving the look of that. Go ahead and get these panels hinged down, and I love how that kind of forms the shoulders right there. And then these panels, we want to get like this, I think. Get it like that, I think. Mm-hmm. Alright, we're almost done. So the arms, we want to flip out the hands, and I love this like double hinge wraparound. It's a very, very cool way to get the arms shaped. And it's a very nice, solid arm shape as well. Very well done. I gotta get me that Skyhammer at some point. I just enjoy this mold so much, I'm willing to have it again. It's been so long, too. Alright, the last thing is definitely my favorite part of the transformation. So you can have this still in the front if you want it as like a cool defense or attack mode, which is a lot of fun. But they all hinge back, and they all have a place to tab in. Push it in all the way, so it's locked in, it's not going to spin anymore. And this is one of the coolest looks for a helicopter transformer I think I've ever seen. The propeller blades just wrapping around the torso like that, that is incredible. And we can take these swords, let's just go ahead and split them back up. Go ahead and put them in the hands, and here we go. Here is our Age of Extinction Helicopter Voyager Drift in his robot mode. And for me, when it comes to transforming figures of Age of Extinction Drift, this is by far my favorite. It just looks so cool. The two-tone blues are awesome. They even carry on to the robot mode head sculpt. Like, look at that little bit of two-tone blue right there. That's awesome. The head sculpt looks fantastic. It actually looks accurate to the movie, which I really appreciate. The shoulder pads are awesome. You can have these folded down too if they're still annoying you. If you think them sticking out looks kind of ugly, you can fold those. The proportioning on this guy is really cool as well. He's definitely bigger and beefier than you would expect out of Drift, but I don't care. It's awesome. This is an awesome figure of Drift. Sure, it doesn't turn into a Bugatti. Sure, it's not accurate in robot mode pretty much at all, but I don't care. This is really cool. For me, it's not always about the accuracy, it's often just about the fun and the cool factor, and this drift brings the cool factor. This is one of my favorite Voyagers to come out of Age of Extinction, and I am so happy that I've had this guy in my collection for as long as I've had. It's so badass. For his articulation, he has a nice ball joint at the head, moves up, doesn't really move down, but does get side to side. Shoulders can do some nice little hinge me do's. The biceps do some cool hinge me do's and some swivel me do's. The elbows have a nice bend. Does have a nice hinge at the wrist, which is cool. Does have a waist swivel. I think, is this one of our first toys in Baysmas with a waist swivel? I think this is our first waist swivel. No, Brawl had a little waist swivel. He just had a little bit. But this is our first full waist swivel, which is pretty cool. Hips are pretty standard universals. The legs kind of suck from here because there is no thigh swivel because of all the hinges that happen in the transformation. And you can see it's kind of has like this weird bow-legged look to it. So no thigh swivel, but you do get a knee bend, and you do get a shin swivel, and the feet can kind of just move up and down for transformation. So definitely missing a little bit of something right here, but I can forgive it with how the transformation works and with just how cool this guy is. So day 7 of Baysmas said and done. We are 1 week into this. And man, I've got another Age of Extinction guy to talk about, but I need to take a break. I need to take a break from Age of Extinction. I want to talk about, let's say, another retro repaint this time around. And this time it's been repainted twice over, which is really cool. Let's go ahead and do it. And day 8 of Baysmas coming up. Welcome everybody to day 8 of the 12 days of Baysmas. We are getting there, aren't we? We're definitely getting there. And this time around, this is actually one of the most recent acquisitions in the 12 days of Baysmas. Not the most, but one of them. And this guy, like I said, was repainted twice over. This is Dark of the Moon Cannon Force Ironhide. And this is a figure that I acquired at the toy department. And when I bought it, I didn't realize that the previous owner had done some really nice custom paint to this thing. But first of all, it's pretty obvious. G1 Ironhide. This is a red Bayverse Ironhide. I really appreciate that the black is still kept in here. I really appreciate that. I think the black, yellow, and red is an awesome color combo. And this is a really cool deco for this Ironhide. This is the Dark of the Moon Voyager mold, which is my first version of Bayverse Ironhide. Not my favorite, definitely not my favorite, but it's still a really cool iteration. The yellow stripe is really awesome. The red's looking cool. It's a nice truck mode. I've always enjoyed just the overall feel of this figure as well. It comes together very nice and easy. And overall, it's a nice truck. Definitely one of the nicer trucks because it doesn't have like tons of stuff hanging from below or anything. But when it comes to the bot mode, there's a few proportion issues. I still do like this mold overall though. It will always have a soft spot in my heart. Alright, so let's go ahead and get Cannon Force Ironhide all transformed. I have enjoyed this mold for many years. Like I said, it was my first Ironhide mold I've ever had, so I like to think I know this transformation pretty well by now. It is a little interesting. I would say the most interesting part is how the legs flip. I actually really like how they kind of line up right there with what's going to end up being the belly of the robot. The legs are a very nice transformation. Pretty easy to like just flip these panels underneath the feet, and then you just take these side panels and they will slide. I love how they wrap around the leg. The wheel is on the back of the leg when I think it should be like on, isn't it supposed to be like in the thigh or something? Ironhide is such an interesting design from the Bay movies, but it's a fun design. It's one I really enjoy. And I wouldn't trade it for him to be red like this. I do think it looks best as the original black. I think they knew what they were doing, making him all black. I think it was a cool design for that iteration of Ironhide. But seeing him in the G1 colors is still really satisfying. This is an awesome design. And I'm trying to collect as many of the original 07 characters in G1 colors as possible. I think the only one I still really need is Jazz, because they did do a repaint of that original deluxe Jazz in the G1 colors. But I'm surprised Studio Series hasn't done something like that. I mean, come on, Hasbro. I'm pretty sure you can gather that people really do enjoy like weird retro repaints like this. Why not just do them again, you know? So this is the most frustrating part of the transformation right here, is getting the chest lined up with the belly. Because the chest is kind of like this weird pull-apart thing. You can see it's kind of like this weird multi-hinge deal. And there's this little slot that has to go into this little groove right here. And it's, wow. That's literally the easiest it's ever gone in my entire life. How wild is that? But yes, here is Dark of the Moon Cannon Force Ironhide in his robot mode. And like I said, whoever previously owned this did a repaint on it, and they added like paint on the feet, they added it on the legs, on the arms, even on the head they added a lot of nice gunmetals and everything. They did an amazing job on redecoing this. I only spent like 10 bucks on this thing, and I wasn't really stressed if it was custom painted or incomplete. It didn't even come with the gun, so I'm not stressing about that. But this paint job elevates it. I'm serious. Like, if you are the person that used to own this and you're watching this video, just know that your Dark of the Moon Voyager Ironhide is in very good hands. I'm definitely going to appreciate this thing in my collection. This is an awesome figure, and this is definitely my favorite version of this mold. I mean, look at this. This is awesome. Now, I do think proportionally this figure's a little iffy. I don't know if you noticed, but he's got like double jointed knees, and I actually shifted them forward just to make him look a little bit more squat, because otherwise he just looks really long-legged and lanky, and like, that's not Ironhide. Ironhide is a very squat, beefy kind of bot. Overall, though, this guy has some really nice proportioning other than that. I love how the arms are kind of off to the side and everything. I really liked this kibble on the shoulder. Number one, it is actually fairly movie accurate. But number two, it forms like this really nice shoulder shroud, like this cool looking shoulder pad deal. And on his back, it's just the top of the truck. Overall, this is a very clean transformation and a very clean Ironhide. Now, if you were curious about the weapon, it was identical to the original Voyager Ironhide's weapon, where it just, you know, you push it and it spins, and it's a lot of fun. And if you do want it to remain extended, there's a little dial back there that locks it into place. So, very cool little mech tech weapon. I actually use this. You know what? I'm going to pull it out because it's so fun. I use this on my G1 Ironhide and Bayverse Colors figure. It was like one of those Netflix things, and I just added an Autobot logo to it and gave him some guns. So yeah, we have a Bayverse Ironhide in G1 Colors and vice versa. That's actually really awesome looking. I love that. I'd love to see like a green G1 Ratchet, silver G1 Jazz. We need more stuff like this. This wasn't even intentional. It was just a happy accident. So yeah, this Ironhide is especially awesome, and I'm really hoping I can complete this Retro 07 team. His articulation, he's got a very nice ball joint at the head. This has always been one of the nicest ball joints on an Ironhide figure, in my opinion. It looks up great, looks down a little bit, some nice side to side. The shoulders kind of suck. They're just kind of on swivels, just with how he transforms. He does have bicep swivels as well. He does have a hinge and a ball joint at the arm, so you can like get the arm kind of forward, but not really. And you can see that chest does come untabbed sometimes if you're moving the upper body around too much. It does have a wrist swivel that is actually on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of wiggle out of it as well. Nothing at the waist. The hips move forward, kind of limited, just with the skirting and everything. You do have outward. You do have a thigh swivel. You do have double jointed knees, which bend all of the way, which is super awesome. And then the ankles are on a very nice forward and back hinge, and a little ball joint for a rocker. So overall, movie Ironhide and G1 Colors. This is a slick iteration of the character. And I believe for the GDO line, they also did it for the leader class, didn't they? Oh, I'd love to see the Studio Series mold get the red treatment. So there we go, day 8 of the 12 days of Baysmas. We've only got 4 figures left. We are 2/3 of the way there. I'm very excited for this next one because I couldn't help it. We're back to Age of Extinction one more time! One more time! Sorry, I got a little excited. I'm passionate for Age of Extinction. You know what? I'll cut you a deal. We'll talk about an Age of Extinction toy, but it's not necessarily official. Welcome everybody to day 9 of the 12 days of Baysmas, and like I said, I just can't escape Age of Extinction, but I want to do something a little less official this time around. Everything here's been real, it's been legit. Let's talk about a knockoff. This is the oversized die-cast knockoff of Age of Extinction Deluxe Lockdown. I actually got this guy in the P.O. box. Thank you, Brandon, for sending this my way. I have always had the weirdest love-hate soft spot relationship with the original Age of Extinction Lockdown, because on one hand, it's a pretty fun figure, but on the other hand, it is super inaccurate and the proportions are weird and it kind of looks nothing like him. But hey, now I have an oversized knockoff of him, and this kind of scales nicer with, you know, a larger Optimus Prime, so, you know, maybe like the first edition leader class or something. This is a better scale for like a leader Prime, something a bit larger. And like I said, it is die-cast. You can see the front is very nice and shiny die-cast with some very cool gunmetal paint. It's pretty much all the die-cast that's on him, but hey, you know what? It's still pretty decent quality other than that. It does have a big old crack in the windshield, but who cares? It's just a crack in the windshield. I've got a crack in my windshield in my car, and the insurance wouldn't freaking pay for it, because it's a... You know what? I'm not getting into that. This does still have the big old cannon that can go on the top. Alright, let's go ahead and transform this cool-looking Lambo. It is identical to the official thing, the real deal. And I've talked about the real deal a few times, actually, because I don't have the original one anymore. I don't have my original deluxe, but I do have the Takara repaint, like the Takara Tomy color scheme for it. And now I have this. I've done like an old versus new. I love this rotation, by the way. It's so cool. I've done an old versus new on this mold before. I've done a short on this mold before. But this is big. This is the same thing, but it's big now. I do have to say, I really do enjoy this transformation. It is essentially a carbon copy of Dark of the Moon Deluxe Roadbusters transformation, and that is also a pretty cool, fun figure. And I think overall they accomplished it fairly well with this iteration of the character. It's, you know, it accomplishes the character, but you can see proportionally he's got these super long arms. He's got these weird long arms. He kind of has like a saggy chest. There's not much fixing it either. I mean, you can kind of shift the shoulders up, but then he's got super shrugged shoulders. I don't know. It's always been kind of a mess of a figure, but I've always kind of enjoyed it, and I do think I enjoy this oversized knockoff just a bit more than the official thing. You think you were born? You were built, and your creators want you back. Yeah, that's a pretty decent head sculpt for Lockdown. Not perfect, but it's a pretty decent sculpt. It's the same sculpt as the original Deluxe. It does have the same chest detailing and everything. Again, it's kind of got like a saggy looking chest. The arms are just existing in car panels. That's always looked kind of cheap to me. I do like the cool looking like springs in the thighs. That's kind of neat looking. Almost looks like suspension or whatever. Yeah, it's a pretty decent Lockdown toy, but it's not as good as the Studio series, and even then, that one's not even that great. I personally really like the Unique Toys version. So, if you want a really nice Lockdown, I'd just go for that one. We can give him gun face, obviously. Gotta give him gun face. It's freaking Lockdown. He's gotta have gun face. So you just put the gun over his face, and then he's got gun face. It doesn't want to stay on too well on this knockoff for some reason. It kind of wants to come off with the slightest bit. See, it wants to like pop off with the slightest bit of upward pressure. But it's still... Honestly, it doesn't fit on too well. But it's an option. It's there. It just doesn't cooperate too well. He can still hold the massive gun, obviously. You can hold it, and you can, like, awkwardly, like, shift it back, and it's supposed to fire the missile, but I don't think it's going to fire too well. It actually was kind of decent. But overall, this Lockdown is some pretty decent fun. For his articulation, he has a ball joint at the head, he's got a hinge and ball joint at the shoulders, he has a swivel and hinge at the elbow, it's kind of got like a soft ratchet as well. Nothing at the waist, hips move forward, they move out, they're squeaky, knees can swivel and bend, and they don't actually bend too well. And the ankle can just kind of move down for transformation. So yeah, this one's kind of whack. It's not bad. I do think the oversized knockoff makes it better, but not by much. Overall, this is definitely not the Lockdown to go for, but I still enjoy having it, and I'm really happy that Brandon was able to send this my way, and I'm happy I was able to show it off in the 12 days of Baysmas. Lockdown probably looks best in this Santa hat. He looks so good. But there we go. We only have 3 days left. We're down to the wire. And you know what? I thought about it, and I think for the last 3 days, we need to go back to what most people consider to be one of the best Transformers movie lines. It's one that has some ups and downs, but for me, I think you're gonna enjoy the last 3 days of the 12 Days of Baysmas. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the 12 Days of Baysmas. We're on day 10. We're double digits now. And this is a figure that I did a YouTube short on a while back, but I never fully showed off the awesomeness of this figure, or should I say, figures. Yes, I'm finally giving the Ice Cream Twins a proper look. This is Ice Cream Skids and Mudflap. And they're the ice cream truck. Unfortunately, it doesn't say, like, suck my popsicle on the side. You have to buy the repro labels for that. But it does look cool. It says, made fresh for you, creamy ice cream. It's got some cool deco and everything. It actually has some sculpted rust, which is actually really cool to see. I like seeing some sculpted rust. That's really neat. I've thought about painting it and just adding a little bit of detail, but nah, I think I'm okay. I like just seeing the sculpt. This is one of the first times I've actually ever transformed these guys. Don't ask me why. I've just never felt super compelled to transform them, which is odd because most people keep these guys in the alt mode because this is an ice cream truck transformer. This is one of the coolest things to come out of the Michael Bay movies because it proposes the idea of what if two robots combine into one singular alt mode? That's really cool. They never did it again. They never really did it again. Sure, there's like Dragon Storm and whatever, but this concept was never really used again. And that's a shame, because I think it could have been a really cool plot point, and it could have been a really cool feature for like Optimus and Bumblebee to like combine into some like super truck or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, this is Skids and Mudflap in their awesome ice cream truck mode. So, to transform them, the first thing we have to do is split them apart. And I tried to be mindful of not connecting them all the way because two of the tabs are clear plastic! Ugh! And one of them's already stressed. So let's go ahead and do Skids first, because he makes up the front and he's kind of smaller, a little less going on. So I think I can remember how to do this. Again, I've never really done it properly until prepping for this video. I was able to figure these guys out independently, which is really nice. I didn't have to worry about like watching a video. I did have to see a video though on the grill part, or should I say the hood part, because I didn't realize you have to tug that tab up for it to properly connect, because otherwise the hood is just kind of gonna spring up and it's not gonna work properly. So thankfully I was able to see a video that taught me that. So other than that, I think I'm pretty good to go on this guy. He's a lot of fun. It's a little ice cream dude, and he's only half of a ice cream van. He's pretty much already done. We just have to kind of compact all this stuff back here and get his little... Oh no! It had been too long since I popped a part off. It was bound to happen. But yeah, I think this is pretty much it. Here's our little Skids in his tiny little robot mode. And let's just go over him real fast before we transform Mudflap. He's adorable. He's really cool. I'm sure he's got the super mega ugly head sculpt, but it's pink. You can't be mad at that. It's pink. We don't see a lot of pink Transformers other than like RC. This is like RC colors. I'd love to see some more pink Transformers. Make a male pink Transformer for all I care. Some of my favorite like mobile suits in Gundam are like Angelo's Gira Zulu, who literally looks like a Nazi stormtrooper robot and it's pink. So give me some more pink robots. Yeah, this is a very cute little guy. I love these little details right here by the head. I'm surprised I haven't broken those off yet. But yeah, it's a very nice looking guy. I do enjoy how those details kind of spring along with the head. His articulation, he's got a little ball joint at the head. His shoulders are on like hinges, but then they're also on like hinges moving forward. His elbows are on ball joints and hinges. This wrist is on a hinge. He does have a waist rotation, but it is like the bumpers attached to it, so keep that in mind. The hips are on little ball joints, has a little knee bend. And then the feet are on like little hinges and everything. I think they're backwards. Yeah, it's backwards. It's okay, I caught it. Oh no, I broke it. Yeah, sorry guys, I thankfully I caught that. Otherwise I would have received 50 comments. Yeah, again, it's kind of cool that he's got an ankle tilt. For a little tiny guy, he's got an ankle tilt. How cool is that? Alright, there's Skids. Let's transform his bro. So his bro is a straight up shell former. I hate to say it, he is a shell former. There's so much shell going on here. There's so much panel work, so much stuff just hanging in very awkward ways and awkward places. This is not a very enjoyable experience, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Don't stress out about it. Stop stressing out about it. Very thick pegs right there. Kind of hard to get that off. These little bits, these are like little panels that come out. And then these are panels that actually are kind of cool because they come out and they swing all the way around to the front of the bot and kind of form the chest panels, which is kind of cool. It's actually really interesting seeing something come all the way from the back to the front just to add some detail to the bot mode. So you can see that upside down Autobot symbol is now going to function as his Autobot symbol in his bot mode. And I don't know if mine's slightly yellowed, it probably is, but I'm noticing like some slightly different coloration to the whites, but it's not that big of a deal. We're actually almost done. The last thing we have to do is just manage these ridiculous kibble panels. They just kind of fold and shuffle on his back. I don't know if there's like a more proper way to do it, but I just kind of keep him back there on his back. And here we go. Here is our Mud Flap in his robot mode, and he's a lot bigger. He definitely has a lot more bulk to him because he takes up a lot larger of a portion of the ice cream truck. He still does have the same stupid big hand. His head is white this time around instead of pink. I would have loved to see the pink head, but I understand they wanted to have some differentiation between their designs. He's got some massive feet, especially in comparison to his brother. He's got huge feet. But he, like I said, does have the same hand. I do enjoy these panels on his shoulders where it actually says creamy ice cream. That looks really fun. And again, these little panels on the front are cool too. His articulation, he has a ball joint at the head, ball joints at the shoulders. All these kibble things are on hinges and panels. Move them how you wish. He has a bicep swivel and a proper elbow band. This wrist can move in and out. He does not have a waist swivel with how his waist transforms. He's got little ball joints at the hips, nothing at the thigh, but he does have the most useless knee bend of all time with how big his ankles are. And then his feet, you can like hinge the ankle up and down. So there we go. There is Ice Cream, Skids, and Mud Flap. Sorry, boys, you gotta share the Santa hat. I've only got the one. So there we go. Day 10 of the 12 days of Baysmas. We only have 2 days left, and I think I'm going to stick with Revenge of the Fallen for the last 2 days. There's one particular character from the Michael Bay Transformers movies we haven't talked about yet somehow. And unfortunately, I already did a big video talking about like all of his toys, but I think this one I didn't have when I did that video. So we're going to talk about an interesting iteration of a very iconic character. Welcome everybody to day 11 of the 12 days of Baysmas. It's Christmas Eve. Are you guys excited? I'm excited. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know what else to tell you. Well, anyways, I kind of hinted at it last time. There's a specific character I haven't talked about yet somehow. It's freaking Bumblebee. I haven't talked about Bumblebee yet. Bumblebee is the poster boy for the Michael Bay live-action movies. He's the one. He's the one I really wanted a toy of when I was a kid. He's the one that everybody loves. When you ask, like, somebody on the street, who's your favorite Transformer? They're gonna say Bumblebee. This is him. This is the guy. Now, granted, I would say Optimus is a more significant character to the franchise when it comes to the importance of storytelling, and, yeah, like, Optimus is the main character, but Bumblebee is the probably most famous character out of Transformers. I can probably tell you anyone would see a yellow Camaro and say, oh, it's like Bumblebee from like anyone knows Bumblebee. This is specifically the canon Bumblebee mold from Revenge of the Fallen. I don't think I had this guy when I did my big Bumblebee video, because I talked about damn near every other Bumblebee. I was going to do the Dark of the Moon leader, but it's like I did them all. I did them all for that big Bumblebee video I made like, 7 years ago? Some crazy like that. But I don't think this guy was in it. Even if it was, I don't care. I want to talk about this one because it's cool looking. I love the windows. I think they need to do the windows like this a lot more often because it's actually like that metallic swirly twirly plastic for the windows, and it looks fantastic. I don't know if I have any other Transformer in my collection that's done this as a solution to the windows, but it looks great. I'd love to see more of it, and it means there's no clear plastic. And for me, it's not a deal breaker if there is clear plastic, but I would rather him not have clear plastic. Interestingly, I almost started transforming him. You can actually do like the thing from the last night where his arms are like sticking out in the car mode. So that's kind of funny. You can have like arms. But let's just go ahead and finish transforming it. This is kind of like a half retool of the original 2007 Deluxe class. There's a lot that's similar, but there's a lot that they changed to the point where it's essentially a new mold. It's pretty much the second Deluxe that we ever really got, or actually the third Deluxe mold, I should say, that we got for live-action Bumblebee. But you can see like stuff like the legs, like the leg automorph is very similar to that original Deluxe. So again, it's kind of like a half remold. But pretty much everything new is going to come up here in the torso. So we do want to take all of this paneling and kind of fold it up back here. Make sure it's all folded and out of the way and everything, as well as I can with how much I struggle with everything in my life. We want to get his head out, so we can go ahead and flip his head. And I reckon you could have also had the head sticking out in the car mode to an extent. That would have been kind of funny. But, well, we're pretty much already there. We can go ahead and flip out the cannons, because this is Canon Bumblebee after all. And I'm pretty sure he did use these cannons in the movies. Like, this is a movie detail. It just wasn't like a super prominent thing you really noticed in the movies. Alright, I think one of the last things we really have to do is try to get this massive torso. Ooh, oh, that didn't sound good. We gotta get this big torso assembly down and hinged into these parts on the torso. And then fold that down. And then we just have to manage all this back kibble. And I think probably the best way to do that is just kind of hinge it like this. I think that's decent. I think that's okay. I'm going to go with that. I don't have all day, so I'm going to go with that. And here is our Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Canon Bumblebee. And he looks kind of dorky, doesn't he? He looks kind of dorky, but I love him. I think one of the biggest issues is with how he transforms. There's no real definition to the front bumper of the car. Normally, Bumblebees will have like some shifting of, you know, the grills, some shifting of the headlights, of the front vent, but this guy has none of that. So just kind of almost looks like a fast action battler, but trust me, this is a deluxe. One absolutely foul and disgusting thing they did for Revenge of the Fallen is they gave all the Bumblebee toys these terrifying pupils. That looks scary. Now granted, it's a much more accurate head sculpt, but the pupils are just so scary. Like, why? Why'd they do that? I don't like that. No thank you. But it is a better head sculpt than what we got back in 2007. And it is a better paint job as well. Overall, I do think this is a pretty decent Deluxe B. He does have some better proportioning and everything than I feel like some of the other ones did. He does have a nice new feature with the arms, where he doesn't have little panels on the shoulders that are just going to fall off. Like, they kind of streamlined his arms a bit. But again, he's got gorilla arms. So many toys have gorilla arms for Baysmas. It's crazy. I do like the cannons on the shoulders. It's a nice little Bumblebee overall. I would say it's a nice little bee. He still has a little detail of the license plate. It's not fully printed, but it's there. It's, well, I mean, what else can I say? It's a cute little Bumblebee. I reckon if you wanted, you could actually... Oh, that looks nice. That actually does replicate his little, like, sub-wings. So I guess if you want it folded like that, you could. That's what I'm going to do. Kind of keep those out, because that kind of looks like his little sub-wings. Yeah, that's nice. That's actually a nice little detail. So overall, he's a pretty nice little Bumblebee. His articulation, he has a ball joint at the head. His cannons can hinge, and you can also have them folded away if you don't want them out in the robot mode. So that's pretty nice. There we go. It's like, I don't think his head's out enough. There we go. So ball joint at the head. He does have like a hinge ball joint thing going on at the shoulders. You do have an elbow swivel and a bend. His thumb can hinge, interestingly. Nothing at the waist due to transformation. Hips are on ball joints. Does not have a thigh swivel, interestingly. Got a hinge at the knee, and then his ankles can kind of hinge up and down, but it is going to start activating the automorph. It does have a little bit of toe articulation as well. So overall, this is a nice Bumblebee. One of the very first Bumblebee Deluxes that we ever got. Definitely not one of my favorites. I would give that to like the Dark of the Moon Deluxe, stuff like that. But it's a nice one. It's definitely nice. So, day 11 of the 12 days of Baysmas, said and done. We've got one more day left. And if you've been paying attention to my channel, you know that I got a very special Bayverse figure in my collection very recently. And it was a gift from a longtime fan and subscriber. So, let's just say thank you to Bobby for day 12 of the 12 days of Baysmas. Stay tuned, it's a figure that I am very excited to show you. Hello everyone, and welcome to the finale of the 12 days of Baysmas. It's day 12! We've made it, we've gotten there. And I hinted at it at the last episode. If you've been watching the channel recently, you probably know what the last one is. I had to cover this guy. I'm so excited I finally have him. Thank you so much to Bobby for sending this in the P.O. box. It is none other than Human Alliance Barricade. This has been a personal grail for me for quite some time, and I'm super happy I finally added this figure to my collection, thanks to Bobby. I've been after it for so long, especially with the little Frenzy in there, because I didn't have a Frenzy in my collection until I got this. So I've got Frenzy, I've got an awesome iteration of Barricade, and right here, I've got our last day for the 12 days of Baysmas. Look at the detail on this cop car. Police 1865 to punish and enslave. This is awesome. And if you're wondering, yes, this is an authentic version of Human Alliance Barricade. There are a lot of knockoffs floating around, but this is the real deal. It's got a little gas cap as well, which is really cool, and that actually plays into an action feature with this guy. Even the back, look at the license plate. Slov. I wonder what that means. Aw, dude, this is incredible. And it's got Frenzy in there. We've got the little Human Alliance Frenzy. Let's take a look at him. But with him out of there, you can see that there's like a full detailed interior. You can even spin the steering wheel. You can also like have the seats folded down. I did unfortunately like forget to fold that seat up. Yeah, Human Alliance was basically the closest thing to alternators that we pretty much ever got after alternators was done. This is an awesome looking car, and we get an awesome little figure. Finally having a Frenzy in my collection is so satisfying. I did have the original Deluxe Barricade for a while and that Frenzy, but that Frenzy kind of sucks. This one is, in my opinion, the best figure of Frenzy you can have in your collection. It's got some really nice articulation. You can see the hips move, the head's on a hinge, it has a little ab crunch, the arms can move, has a little knee joint. It's really nicely articulated and it's nicely sculpted. I'm personally probably going to display this guy on my movie masterpiece shelf since he's the only character from the 07 movie not on that shelf. So I'll probably add him there, and then Barricade will just kind of be chilling somewhere else. But this is an incredible little figure of a very funny character in the movie too. He's very funny. I love him. I wish you could take the head off, but I'm not gonna break him to do that. So let's go ahead and get Human Alliance Barricade all transformed. This isn't gonna be an MPM Brawl situation. I don't even think it's gonna be an Optimus Prime situation. It is a Human Alliance though, so it is gonna be a little bit more complex, but I don't think it's gonna be the end of the world. For me, I think it's easiest to go ahead and like open the doors, and then from there we can kind of grab the sides, because it is a very traditional Barricade transformation where yeah, the sides become the arms. This is just all arms right here. Nothing but arms, baby. This is Arm City. He is an arm boy. But it does make for a very cool looking bot. So I guess with the arms folded like that, we can go ahead and untab the legs from the top of the car. And let's just go ahead and do the legs real fast because they're pretty easy. So just kind of unfold these, rotate the foot. I forgot to flip out this extra little toe piece when I first transformed him. And then I think that does a little hinge me do. And then I think we're pretty much done with the leg right there. Does it rotate though? No, I don't think it does that. That looks hideous. I think it just goes like this, right? Yeah, because we rotate the foot. So the legs are pretty much done. They do kind of suck in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, the legs are kind of pooey. but it's not the end of the world. It's even something you could modify too if you're that stressed out about it. But there's the legs pretty much all done. Just kind of have like that nice digitigrade look to it. He's got some nice little knee pads. And then moving on to the torso, go ahead and just kind of hinge all this down. Get the little bump guard hinged on a secondary hinge down there. And then right here, this back panel is going to come back. And it's kind of cool for his little things that stick out on his back. It's just like pieces of the hood. It's not like the doors or anything. And then we pull out his incredible head sculpt. Then from there we can kind of shape the chest, kind of get it a little bit more properly shaped for Barricade. Kind of push it in, hinge it around, get it, there we go, nice and situated. And then the arms, they're going to swing up like this. And then you can tell I've transformed this guy a few times. I'm so happy with him. And then pretty easy from here. Just kind of flip out the hand. One thing I love about this arm is how the wheel kind of hinges in and kind of fills that arm space. That looks so cool. And then this arm is a lot different because this arm has a gimmick. And it's going to go back to that gas cap. We go and press it. And then, boom! He's got his spinny death blade wheel monstrosity. And he's got all these cool spikes you have to individually hinge out, which is kind of tedious. But hey, once you have them all hinged out, it looks really, really cool. And there we go, guys. There is Human Alliance Barricade in his robot mode. So I've got some news for you. I freaking love this thing. It is so special, and it's so awesome. And the fact that I got it in the P.O. box, thank you so much, Bobby. This was an awesome gift, and it's an awesome addition to my Transformers collection. Barricade has always been one of my more favorite 07 Decepticons, and having his Human Alliance figure is allowing me to ever approach my goal of getting all the Human Alliance molds, except for Mudflap, probably. Are you eBay username LadiesMan217? I love how his head moves. You kind of just like move the head up and the mouth kind of opens with it. That is so fun. I love how the mouth opens. That is a very cool feature for this character, especially considering I think he's very well known for just getting up in Sam's face and just blah, 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 blah. Very cool look. I've always loved like the goatee look for him as well. I really do enjoy all the details on this Human Alliance version. Before the movie Masterpiece, this was our best Barricade. And I do think the movie Masterpiece is a bit better than this, but this is still an incredible version of the character. If you just have this Barricade and you're like, I don't need the movie Masterpiece or Studio Series or whatever, you're A-okay, you're set. Like, you're set with this Barricade. This one is still super awesome and fantastic. It is great. For little features, I already kind of showed you how the spike works. You do unfortunately like have to totally fold all of them back up if you want to spring it out again, but it spins really, really well along with the wheel. He does have some like integration with little Frenzy. He's got like this little missile thing up here on his shoulder. You can like flip that out. And I don't know if Frenzy like has a place to really like sit up there, but it's an option, I guess. Usually the Human Alliance buddies just kind of like chill in the back or whatever. Maybe you can like chill on the arm. You can like chill here or something. Maybe that works. That kind of works. I don't know. I'm not too worried about that. I know you can also like fold this guy up and put him in his chest. There's enough space in there to like fold him up in there. I'm not worried about that because this guy, he's too cool to just be reserved for sitting in somebody's chest. Like he's gotta be his own little Frenzy boy. But it's very appreciated, and it's a very awesome way to do Barricade and Frenzy, having him in the Human Alliance line. Even though technically, like, this isn't a Human Alliance, it's a Cybertronian Alliance. What else does he have going on? Oh yeah, articulation. He can move around. So I already showed off his head articulation. It's pretty much just kind of like on a little ball joint, and the jaw moves. Sorry, I didn't have the backpack fully properly lined up. Please don't kill me. His shoulders are on swivels and hinges. You can also move these. They're on little hinges as well. If you want them sprawled out a little bit more, it just kind of depends on the pose and proportioning. He does have a little bicep swivel, his elbow bend is actually really nice. He's got a really nice elbow bend, and that goes for both of them. So that's really appreciated. This one, it's on the spring. You can rotate it. This hand is kind of on a bit of a hinge, and you can open the thumb, and you can hinge the fingers individually. So even that hand has some pretty good use. The waist does have a bit of a swivel, but it seems kind of hindered. Like it feels like it's gonna break. I don't want to mess with it. This is where it starts to suck, unfortunately. The hips. They move out a little bit, but when it comes to moving forward, I don't know if you've noticed, it's at a Y angle. So moving the legs forward mostly just moves them out. Literally like an old school, like, Kenner superhero or whatever. It's so bad. Like, it's really whack articulation. It's like an old Toy Biz, like, female Marvel Legend or whatever. It's really bad. Now, I know you can, like, trim down this stupid hinge, like, bulk that's just sitting there for whatever reason and make the legs better. I'm not going to stress about that because I don't want to alter or damage this toy, considering that it was a gift, and also I kind of want to keep it in nice condition. The knees kind of suck as well because there's like this kibble sitting back there that kind of gets in your way. They move forward more than they move back, but you do have like the digitigrade look, and it kind of allows you to get them a bit more squat or whatever. So you do still kind of have like a knee bend, but it just kind of depends on how you're posing them. The ankles can move up and down. You don't really have any tilt, which is crazy on a guy like this. I feel like you really need some ankle tilt. And you do have this little like toe piece, side toe, that kind of moves out of the way. So overall, this guy is great from the waist up, but the articulation really falls apart at the legs. I don't know what happened there. But I don't think the articulation is why you're getting this guy. You're getting this guy because this was a movie masterpiece before movie masterpiece. This guy and Jazz are incredible Human Alliance figures I've gotten this year, and I'm so happy to be growing this collection. I still need to get Sideswipe. That's one I still need, I think. And I think it's one of the last ones. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Human Alliance Barricade. Thank you again so much, Bobby. This truly was a grail of mine, and having it in my collection has definitely warmed the heart this holiday season. Well, here we go, guys. The 12 days of Baysmas said and done. What a wild ride. I think I made a big mistake starting off with Brawl, because oh my gosh, that stressed me out so bad. But hey, here we are. We have talked about 12 incredible Bayverse Transformers toys. I love the Michael Bay movies. I love the Michael Bay toy lines. When it comes to the movies, there's a couple that I'm not too big on. Cough, cough, Revenge of the Fallen and The Last Knight. But overall, they're still a lot of fun. They really reinvigorated the franchise. They have allowed the franchise to survive, where a lot of other 80s franchises have not. I have to give a big thanks to Michael Bay for keeping this franchise going, giving it the burst of energy it needed. Love or hate him, Michael Bay has definitely been a massive part of Transformers, and the toys throughout the years have been incredible. We have had, over 15 years of Transformers toys from the Bayverse? We've had, 18 years? The Bayverse is going to turn 20 in 2 years. That's crazy. Overall, I've had a blast with this. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Please let me know down in the comments what your favorite figure featured in the 12 Days of Baysmas was. Me personally, when it comes to personal favoritism, it's got to be MPM Brawl. But when it comes to sentimental value and just hype factor and recency bias, I saved the best for last. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching again. Special shout out to channel members as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Special shout out again to Brandon and Bobby for sending things along in the P.O. box that were featured in the 12 Days of Baysmas. And that's pretty much it. Have a great holiday season, guys. Whatever you celebrate, I hope you're having a great time. I hope that this series allowed you to enjoy the holidays just a little bit more. And yeah, tomorrow's Christmas. Get excited. Let me know what you're getting. I'm getting Hot Toys Venom. I'm getting Hot Toys Comic Venom. I already know what I'm getting. So Please let me know down below what you're excited about this holiday season, what you thought about the list. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Have a great one. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.
Hey everybody, this is Michael Bay. Hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you're having a great Christmas. Yeah, hope you're having a great Christmas. This is Michael Bay. I can't wait to make a new Transformers movie.